Hello and welcome to North Georgia News Now. I'm Amanda Jones. Coming up today, first up in local news, there was an officer-involved shooting this week at Hamilton Medical Center, and the city of Dalton has named a new municipal court administrator. Then later in state news, a shooting in Atlanta this Wednesday led to a massive manhunt, and Georgia is passing legislation to limit coal emissions, and the father of a UGA football player is suing the university for wrongful death. This and more after the break, but first, the obituaries.
This is our Dalton, one of the fastest technology-driven gig cities in the country, thanks to OptiLink.
We're making things happen with lightning-fast internet. With OptiLink and its cutting-edge fiber technology, you get unsurpassed bandwidth for the entire family with super fast speeds for all of your devices, keeping you up to date on the latest trends and dance moves. Never missing a moment with family, work from anywhere for a life well lived.
Speeds beyond your imagination. Speeds that move your life forward. Go big, get the gig from OptiLink.
I got hit by a tree. I was enjoying a beautiful afternoon ride on my motorcycle when a dead tree from an apartment complex fell on me. I was really hurt. The insurance company refused to pay. A friend told me to call Warren & Griffin and they proved negligence. Warren & Griffin is the 5-star law firm that got me a 6-figure settlement without going to court.
I'm C-Mark.
I'm John Mark.
If you've been hurt, call us 529-HURT.
That's 529-4878. We are your local law firm.
Hey guys, I'm Shane Franks and I'm here at Paniagua Auto Mall with
Francisco Paniagua.
And he's going to tell us how we can get ourselves in a good car today. How easy is it?
It's very easy. If you got credit, just come see us. If you don't have credit, come, bring 2 pay stubs, last bank statement, and the rest we can do it here.
And there's over 400 vehicles to choose from, so if you're tired of driving around in that clunker, come over here and they'll give you something you'll be proud to ride in. Thank you.
Welcome back. First up in local news, the GBI is investigating an officer-involved shooting at Hamilton Medical Center. The Dalton Police Department asked the GBI to conduct an independent investigation on Monday. 1 woman was shot and 1 Dalton Police Department officer was injured during the incident. The preliminary information indicates that on May 1st, 2023, around 4:45 a.m., the Dalton Police Department officers were dispatched to the Hamilton Medical Emergency Room Center lobby in response to a patient who had barricaded herself into one of the examination rooms. When the officers entered the room, Doty threw an unknown chemical liquid substance into one of the officer's eyes, causing the officer to temporarily lose his sight. The officer fired his weapon, shooting the woman, later identified as Shavona Doty, age 41. Doty received non-life-threatening injuries. Doty was treated and released into the custody of the Dalton Police Department. The officer received treatment for his eyes and was released from the hospital. The liquid substance was later determined to be hand sanitizer. Dalton PD arrested and charged Doty with offenses of aggravated battery, obstruction of officer, and criminal damage. The GBI will complete an independent investigation. Once complete, the case will be given to the Whitfield County District Attorney's Office for review. The City of Dalton has named a sole finalist for the position of Municipal Court Administrator after a candidate search, according to a release from the city. Jason James has been selected as the sole finalist for the position. For the past 6 years, he has served as the court administrator for the city of Hiram, Georgia. Jason James studied education at Auburn University with concentrations in secondary biology and English education. He also holds certifications from Georgia Council of Court Administrators, including a Master's Certificate of Court Administration, which he earned in 2018. He has worked with the City of Hiram since 2010, where he began his assistant to the Chief of Police and then moved to Hiram Municipal Court in 2011. He rose through the ranks there, becoming court administrator in June 2016. Before joining the City of Hiram, Mr. James worked for 5 years with the Oklahoma City, Oklahoma Municipal Court. City Administrator Andrew Parker says that the City of Dalton is very pleased to add Jason to its leadership team, pending the approval of the mayor and council. Jason brings a wealth of experience from working in the municipal court field in large cities and small over a decade, which will serve the City of Dalton well moving into the future. He is actively involved in the Georgia Council of Court Administrators and has obtained a Master's Certificate of Court Administration, a testament to his dedication to the profession. As the sole finalist for the position, Jason James now awaits the approval of the mayor and council before he can officially be hired. The mayor and council will consider his appointment at their meeting on May 15th. That is the first regularly scheduled meeting of the council after the 14-day waiting period required by state law for the hiring of a new department head. When we come back, state news. But first, here's your local weather.
Thank you.
Thank you, North Georgia.
Gracias, North Georgia.
We appreciate you, North Georgia.
I'm C-Mark.
I'm John Moore.
Like the Georgia Bulldogs, we're number one.
Thank you, North Georgia, for voting us number one 6 years in a row.
If you're hurt and want the best,
Give us a call. We'll do the rest.
Experience the power of the links. OptiLink streaming app VidLink, powered by its fastest internet service, GigLink. Your link to reliable remote access to healthcare. Your link to the best educational opportunities. Your link to our community's only local provider. Your link to the ultimate in entertainment choices and gaming experiences. No interruptions and faster downloads power up your life with the perfect combination of speed and entertainment. VidLink and GigLink. Upgrade today and get the power of the link.
No! Augie, the human is digging near the water main!
That seems rather risky.
Gotta get out!
Why didn't we contact Georgia 811? They inform their member utilities, who send crews to mark where the underground lines are on your property. That way there won't be a nasty mishap, like...
Contact Georgia 811 before you dig.
'Cause seems like it would be prudent.
Welcome back. In state news, an 8-hour manhunt that threw Atlanta into fear and chaos ended when barking dogs at a suburban condo complex led to the arrest of a U.S. Coast Guard veteran suspected of fatally shooting a woman and injuring 4 in the medical waiting room in the bustling heart of Atlanta, according to Ryan Young from CNN. The 24-year-old suspect, Dion Dwayne Patterson, faces 1 count of murder and 4 counts of aggravated assault, according to Fulton County Jail records. The jail supervisor said that Patterson waived his right to a first appearance in court, which had been set for Thursday morning. Now, as a community mourns the loss of a beloved health worker in a place traditionally considered safe, The suspect's mother is apologizing to the family of those slain and hurt. She also has a message for anyone asked to help with mental illness. Don't disregard them. Dion Patterson's mother told investigators that he had sought treatment around noon on Wednesday at the Northside Medical Midtown facility because he was dissatisfied with the care he was getting from the Department of Veterans Affairs. She said that when doctors wouldn't give him the anti-anxiety drug Ativan, Patterson got angry. He pulled a handgun and began firing, the source told CNN. Then he took off on foot, stole a vacant pickup truck, and idling at a gas station, and then drove it north to Cobb County. With schools and businesses on lockdown for miles around, police drew on camera technology systems and information from Patterson's family to blanket the zone. Cobb County Police Chief Stuart Van Hooser said that they finally got a tip that spurred an undercover officer into a foot chase with the suspect on Wednesday night at the gated complex. The attack marked one of 192 mass shootings this year in the United States, with 4 or more people shot, excluding the gunman, according to the Gun Violence Archive. The Fulton Medical Examiner's Office said that the federal health state worker, Amy St. Pierre, who was only 38 years old, died on the scene as 4 other injured women were rushed to a nearby hospital. Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens condemned the attack as a horrible act of gun violence. Charles Hampton, Atlanta Police's Deputy Chief of Criminal Investigations, said that the event happened shortly before noon on Wednesday when the gunman entered a medical facility in the building in downtown Atlanta. It was shortly thereafter that he shot our first victim, and then officers were called at about 12:08 p.m. to the medical facility. Atlanta Police Department Chief Darren Sherbum said that soon after, an official shelter-in-place order beeped across the cell phone network in the city, and an apartment building a block away went on lockdown. From there, a resident said that she could see medical professionals huddled up in offices at the medical building on West Peachtree, one of dozens of city streets that famously share the arboreal moniker. The resident said that she saw 2 people taken out on stretchers and waves of armored police vehicles rushing past. But the gunman was nowhere to be found. Dion Patterson had fled the building on foot, quickly making his way to a nearby gas station. There, a camera network system caught footage of the suspect stealing a pickup truck that had been left running and unattended. The truck's tag was then submitted to a license plate reader system. At about 12:30 p.m., license plate readers spotted the truck in neighboring Cobb County, about 15 miles from the scene of the attack, according to the deputy chief. Cobb County officials were notified right away, Hampton said, and the officers rushed to scour the area for the vehicle, according to Van Hooser and the county's police chief. As the search stretched into the evening, Cobb County law enforcement got a wave of calls reporting possible sighting of the suspect, creating a chaotic scene as officers responded to several false alarms. Van Hooser believes that an undercover officer was the one that originally saw and confronted the individual and was able to then have backup from uniformed officers that came in and took him into custody without incident. Van Hooser credited the successful capture in part to the recent advances in police tracking technology. St. Pierre, who was killed in the attack, worked for the Atlanta-based U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the agency confirmed to CNN. The CDC is deeply saddened by this loss. Surviving victims were taken to the nearby Grady Memorial Hospital, Atlanta's only Level 1 trauma center. The hospital said in a statement that 3 of the women arrived at hospital in critical condition and had to have surgery, while the 4th was in stable condition. One critical patient needed surgery for a gunshot wound to the abdomen and another for a wound to the arm, a hospital representative told us. The 3rd patient had suffered a gunshot wound to the face and required interventional radiology procedure to stop bleeding by inserting catheters directly into blood vessels. The hospital said in a statement that they were recovering in the ICU as of Wednesday evening. Under pressure from federal government, Georgia is rewriting a rule governing industrial air pollution limits to end a loophole that currently exposes communities near coal plants and other facilities to harmful pollutants, according to Gautama Mehta from the Ledger Inquirer. Federal rules strictly govern the amount of dangerous pollutants in coal-fired power plants and other industrial facilities can emit into the air. But an exception to these emissions limits has long been carved out for periods when industrial boiler is starting up, shutting down, or malfunctioning. In 2015, a lawsuit by the Sierra Club forced the Federal Environmental Protection Agency to close this loophole. The EPA instructed 36 states, including Georgia, to revise their environmental regulations to apply consistent emission standards across the board and gave them a deadline of November 2016 to submit plans to do so. 8 years later, Georgia still hasn't rewritten its state regulations accordingly, and power plants remain permitted during startup and shutdown periods to emit unlimited pollutants into the air, potentially causing health hazards to nearby communities. This week, the chief of Georgia Environmental Protection Division's Air Branch presented a new plan before a Department of Natural Resources board meeting in Macon for how the state can comply with the federal rule. Karen Hayes, the Air Branch chief, says that the proposal mirrors an earlier version of the plan that the EPA rejected last year, in that it allows polluters to submit alternative emissions limitations for periods of startup, shutdown, and malfunction for approval by state regulators. The new version, though, would require approval by the EPA in addition to the EPD for such exemptions. The alternative limitations could take the form of work practices rather than a numerical count on the amount admitted. Hayes told The Telegraph that, as an example, an industrial facility whose process involves two fuels might commit to only burning the cleaner of the two fuels at startup. The previous proposal was withdrawn in January after the EPA said that it violated its interpretation of the Clean Air Act. In its notice rejecting Georgia plan, the EPA said that the proposed rules seem to have been developed without consideration of whether sources are capable of complying with otherwise applicable numeric emission limitations. While the EPD has not yet officially submitted its new proposal to the EPA, Hayes said that informally they have approved the concept that emission limits will apply at all times, but during these startup, shutdown, and malfunction events, they can approve some kind of alternative limit. The main difference between the new proposed rule and the one that the EPA rejected last year is that the alternative limitations would need to be approved by federal as well as state regulators. Hayes, who retired from the EPD this week, downplayed the significance of the rule change, saying that she thinks the impact of this is going to be nothing. She said excess emissions events of the kind under consideration are very rare and they're very short when they do occur. But environmental advocates say there's no reason to give polluters a free pass at SSM periods. Isabella Ariza, a Sierra Club attorney, said that some coal plants during periods of startup and shutdown, the whole smell is unbearable and the air quality becomes really dangerous because those periods are basically the periods that EPA and the states should be planning for and protecting the public from. What's more, periods of startup and shutdown are increasingly common at coal plants as their growing operational cost has meant that they are frequently only used for periods of peak energy demand. So they're brought online and turned off more often. Mark Woodall, the Georgia Sierra Club's legislative chair, said that traditionally coal plants were always baseload. They ran them wide open year-round. Now they're running them a few weeks at a time. Since it has not yet been formally submitted, The Telegraph has not reviewed the new proposed rule. The earliest that the new EPD rule could be submitted for federal review is after the Department of Resources August board meeting, when the agency could approve the rule after soliciting public comment. But this may not be soon enough to avoid litigation over how long the process has taken. On March 3rd, the Sierra Club issued a notice informing the EPA of its intent to sue the agency within the next 60 days for taking years longer than it was legally required to officially recognize that Georgia had not submitted the proposed rule. Next up, Devin Willock's father is suing the University of Georgia for $2 million in damages after his son, a former offensive lineman for the Georgia Bulldogs, was killed in a car crash following a celebration of the team's second consecutive national championship victory, according to Jeremy Latham from the New York Post. Lawyers representing Dave Willock sent a legal notice to the Georgia Board of Regents early in April informing that they would be seeking damages for the wrongful death after January crash killed Devin and Georgia staffer Chandler LaCroix. $2 million is the maximum that state agencies can be sued for in Georgia. Willock was killed on January 15th when a car driven by LaCroix veered off the road and smashed into a power pole, allegedly while racing star Georgia defensive tackle Jalen Carter, who was just drafted for the Eagles. Warren McClendon, who was drafted by the Los Angeles Rams, and another team staffer, Torrey Bowles, were injured in the crash but survived. Police said that LaCroix was driving at 104 miles per hour when the vehicle crashed and that her blood alcohol concentration was 0.197, well above the legal limit. Dave Willock's attorneys were alleging that the university was aware LaCroix had a checkered driving history with 4 speeding tickets in 6 years and that they still allowed her to drive players around. According to ESPN, the legal notice stated that UGA and the University of Georgia Athletic Association agents and employees negligently entrusted a vehicle to LaCroix. Likewise, UGA and UGAA agents and employees negligently hired, supervised, trained, and retained LaCroix. Dave Willock's attorneys also said that LaCroix was instructed to be on call to drive the players around all weekend with a vehicle that the university had lent to her, despite head football coach Kirby Smart previously telling the media that it was not her job to getting players home that night. The attorneys also alleged that LaCroix supplied alcohol to the players during the championship celebrations, which UGA spokesperson Greg Trevor denied in a statement this Tuesday. His statement read, "While we can continue to grieve for the Willock family, the demand letter from the attorney of Devin's father is full of inaccuracies." He continued to say that Willock's attorney has not provided the university with any sources or evidentiary basis to support these reckless claims. As we have made clear, personal use of vehicles rented for recruiting activities was strictly prohibited. Ms. LaCroix was not engaged in athletic department duties around the time of the incident, and her personal use of the car after her recruiting duties ended earlier that evening, and this was therefore unauthorized. When we return, we'll share some events going on around North Georgia.
At First Franklin Financial, we make loans for living, offering personal loans from $600 to $15,000 with fixed rates, flexible terms, and payment plans to fit any budget. And with same-day approvals, you can get your money right away. The next time you need a little financial help, First Franklin Financial is here for you. Visit oneffc.com to learn more.
My car looks totally ruined. I don't even know what to do.
Locally owned Dalton Collision Center is the only choice when it comes to all of your auto body and refinish needs. Our experienced staff provides quality work from start to finish, will help with your claim, and even assist with getting your rental car. Everything from A to Z.
So you can focus on life, we can focus on getting you there.
Welcome back to North Georgia News Now. I'm Kirsten Payne, and here's what's going on around the area. Join New Echota State Historic Site to celebrate Archaeology Month on May 6, 2023. From 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., visitors will have a chance to observe tools and techniques that archaeologists use to preserve the past, as well as participate in dig box and artifact cataloging activities. Guided history tours will also be offered at 10 a.m. and 1 p.m., and a Take Flight guided hike will be offered at 10 a.m. Site admission is $5.50 to $7 per person and includes access to the outdoor grounds with 12 historic and reconstructed buildings, nature trails, museum, and 17-minute film. Picnic tables are available on site. New Echota is located at 1211 Chatsworth Highway, 225 North, Calhoun, Georgia, 30701, just 1 mile off of I-75 at exit 317. For more information and to view upcoming events, visit georgiastateparks.org/New Echota. Georgia Archaeology Month is sponsored by the Society for Georgia's Archaeology in order to promote interest and support for local and statewide preservation. May is Mental Health Awareness Month. To bring awareness to this cause, Hippie Fitness is teaming up with a nonprofit called Hope Spur to create an outdoor yard sale on Saturday, May 6, 2023. From 7 a.m. to 2 p.m., you will have the opportunity to enjoy food vendors and shop through different companies. Every dollar spent at the yard sale contributes to raising money for out-of-pocket costs of mental health counseling. This event is located at 2625 Chattanooga Avenue in Rocky Face. If you are interested in your company being a part of this yard sale, text or call 706-847-0241 for a reservation fee of $25. We look forward to seeing you enjoy your retail therapy. The Northwest Georgia Family Crisis Center is hosting its 3rd annual Louder Together Breaking the Silence Music Festival on Saturday, May 13th at 5 o'clock, and the doors open at 3. This fundraising event is located at Burr Park, is an opportunity for members of our community to support their mission to provide shelter and to advocate for abused adults and children. Musical performances will be including Neon Moon, the Ultimate 90s Country Band, the Sean Christian Band, Easton Chambers, Connor McCutcheon, and DJ Spot. There will be food vendors, arts and crafts, and a bouncy house, and all sorts of sweets. This event is free and open to the public. You can find more information on Northwest Georgia Family Crisis Center's Facebook page. Head down to downtown Ringgold for 9 to 5 on Saturday, May 13th for Ringgold's Dolly Days. Did you know that Dolly Parton was married in Ringgold? Join the community to celebrate her anniversary with karaoke, food vendors, line dancing, a petting zoo, a Dolly lookalike contest, and even a 5K. Several shops on the street will be having special sales, so don't miss out. This event is free and open to the public. You can find more information on the Dolly Days Facebook event. The 3rd annual Silverton Music Festival is Saturday, May 20th from 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. The headlining band is Uprooted feat. Michael Glabicki of Rusted Root. Also featured at this performance will be Haley Mae Campbell, Ariel O Music, Kelvin, and Toothpick and Beanpole. Tickets are $25. Springtime at Spring Place is Saturday, May 20th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Chief Van House Historic Site in Chatsworth. There is no better way to learn the history of our state than through the flora and pollinators that sustain life in this land. See some of the plants that the Cherokees were growing in the early 19th century. Enjoy a tree identification hike and a birding hike, make your own seed bomb, take part in pollination activities, meet a beekeeper, and more. Bring the whole family to the historic Prater's Mill this July and enjoy hay rides, a children's barrel ride, pedal tractor race, petting zoo, entertainment, and a special parade of power tractors. There will be plenty of good food, including homemade ice cream. This event is free and open to the public on July 29th. If you'd like to submit information on your event for our community calendar, send an email to events@wdnntv.com. That is it for this edition of North Georgia News Now. Be sure to check out on our website at wdnntv.com and visit us at Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Thanks for watching Local.
Experience the power of the links. OptiLink streaming app VidLink, powered by its fastest internet service, GigLink. Your link to reliable remote access to healthcare. Your link to the best educational opportunities. Your link to our community's only local provider. Your link to the ultimate in entertainment choices and gaming experiences. No interruptions and faster downloads. Power up your life with the perfect combination of speed and entertainment. VidLink and GigLink. Upgrade today and get the power of the link.